Shabbat Shalom, Agudis. Great to start a new year with all of you, and with that, a new book of the Torah as well, the book of Exodus, or Shemot. Shemot means names because at the beginning of this book, the names of the brothers who came down to Egypt are listed. And the question for our rabbis is, why did they list the name of the brothers? Their names were already listed back in Genesis, so what's the point of being redundant? And there's an idea in rabbinic thought that the Torah is not redundant. In fact, when it lists something twice, there's a reason for that second listing. And so a great midrash in the Shemot Rabbi, in the compendium of midrashim on Exodus, says that these names aren't just a list, but they actually represent a redemption that God is going to bring for the Jewish people. And this is especially important because shortly after the listing of these names, we find out about all of the oppression and all of the slavery and suffering that is coming upon the Israelites following the death of Joseph. And so the Midrash actually imagines that the names of the brothers have this deeper meaning of redemption. For example, Ruvain, which has the root within it, ra'ah, to see, they actually bring a verse from a few chapters later in the Torah where God sees the suffering of the Israelites. Shimon has the root shomea, to hear or listen. And indeed it says a few chapters later that God heard the cries of the Israelites in their sufferings. And it goes on with each and every name of the brothers and finds this message of redemption, of hope, of thanksgiving within it, which is not necessarily evident from the story that's going to start right after these names. And so I learned two things from this. One is that the names that were given to these brothers by their mothers, by Leah and Rachel, weren't necessarily intended to mean these messages of redemption and hope and saving. They maybe couldn't really even envision this future of oppression that God would need to come and save the people in such a way. But nonetheless, these names are reinterpreted, or seen within these names is this message of hope and deliverance nonetheless, that despite the intentions of the parents, of what we think of ourselves and how names represent that identity, there can be an adjustment, there can be a change, there can be progress and hope and betterment for each and every one of us. And the second lesson is that God implants within a difficult situation, within suffering and struggle, the seeds of hope and redemption, of a better world, of better lives for all of us. And that placed in these names, before any of the sufferings, before any of the oppressions of the Egyptians on the Israelites happened, God sends a message, maybe a coded message, that says that God is still there, that God is going to save them, that God is going to redeem them and help them find a better, holier, safer life. And I think for all of us, whether we're going through a difficult time in our lives, whether we've experienced a tragedy, whether we have some sort of pain that we're experiencing, or God forbid, communal tragedy, we believe nonetheless that God plants the seeds for the betterment of the world, that God plants the seeds for the hope that rises beyond that pain and suffering, and that we believe in that, and that our belief impels us to act upon that as individuals and as a community, because those seeds are already planted if we just water them. So wishing all of us the hope and blessing of those seeds, and that whatever we may be experiencing, we believe and hold on to and fight for the hope that is to come. Shabbat Shalom. Happy New Year.